Martin, it is such a pleasure to meet you. I feel like I should bow in your presence
Oh, my
because you're
goodness.
such a legend. And this is your third time working with Tim Burton, and I know you had a cameo in Sleepy Hollow, but the time before that was Ed Wood, for which
Yeah.
you won an Oscar. How does it feel to reunite with him again on this?
Well, we're black and white again, too.
Yeah.
And, no, it's great. You know, I mean, I sort of keep in touch with Tim off, you know, in the off days. And it's great, you know. I mean, it's as if no time has passed. I mean, sometimes 6 months go by and then we don't see each other and bingo. But it's like no time has passed. And that happens with a lot of actors. I mean, you work intensely with them and a year goes by and you never see them. And then you just pick up the thread.
Brilliant, yeah. You guys have such a great connection, obviously. So when you arrive on set, is it a case of him saying, you know, here's a canvas, go paint? Or do you know?
No, that's exactly right. A good director creates a playground for the actors, always. He opens the door and lets you play. And if you've got another actor who wants to play, I mean, the stuff you can come up with, no one can actually conceive ahead of time. I always say that, you know, all an audience wants to believe is what's going on up there is happening for the first time ever.
Yeah.
You don't want to see the rehearsals or the slickness. There are a lot of actors who shall remain nameless who are big stars, and they're not really very good.
Really?
I mean, they're not. I mean, they're considered good, but they, you know, they're predictable, and I pretty much know what they're going to do before they do it.
On that note, what do you think at the moment of the current crop of actors winning Oscars and Emmys now compared to, you know, when you started out acting, like yourself, Cary Grant, Paul Newman? How do you think they compare?
Well, you know, I run the West Coast Actor Studio. I mean, I'm artistic director, and it's hard to get into the studio. It still is. I mean, Geraldine Page had to audition 6 times before she got in. Dustin Hoffman claims it was 9 times.
Really?
It's actually 6 times. Gene Hackman 4 times. Bobby Duvall 3 times. We still are the year I got in New York, prehistoric times, 2 people got in that year. Steve McQueen and I were the only 2 accepted that whole year.
So it was really tough back then.
So it's about, you know, it's not a school, the Actor Studio. It's basically an elitist group of talented people. And on Fridays, when I'm moderating the acting sessions, the work that I see is better than anything on the New York stage, better than anything on television, better than anything that's in the movies. I mean, the level of work is so exceptional, and the things that the actors take into, you know, and we do Shakespeare, we do Shaw, we do Ibsen, we do, you know, Eugene O'Neill, of course Tennessee Williams and Arthur Miller, who, you know, actually utilized the Actor Studio actors, Marlon, Monty Clift, all of those people.
Wow, so many great names.
Well, Jimmy Dean, who was my best friend, you know, I mean, I don't know if you know that or not.
No, I didn't know.
Oh.
What is it for you that ignites this passion in acting? Because you've been doing it for so long and you're showing no signs of stopping.
Well, why would I? I mean, you know, the wonderful thing, you know, if I were a dancer, I would have to stop. And if I was an opera singer, I would have to stop because the physicality would affect my career. As an actor, you just get older, and you play older characters. And I turn down a lot of things where it's the old guy at a table who's grunting, you know. There's no arc at all, you know. It's like, and usually the object of ridicule from the younger people, and I won't do those. It has to have an arc. It has to have, you know, some degree of...
You get to have some fun here with Mr. Rizkrisky. How much fun did you have bringing this Slobovian, as you called him, to life?
How do you know about Slobovian?
I did my research. Where the Slavs live.
That's hilarious because the script said he's European, but he's not from here. He's not from Germany. He's not from Hungary. He's not from Bulgaria. But he's European. So I just... Whereas in Ed Wood, I had to be Hungarian, Transylvanian. I mean, that's where, you know, Lugosi came from. In fact, it hindered his career, really. That couldn't get rid of that accent. No one, you know, the Gabors sound like they just got off the boat. I know it's true. It's very hard to lose a Hungarian accent. So I made up the name Slobovia, where the Slavs come from, and I, and so it's sort of Slavic, but not exactly, and it smacks of European.
You've spoken before about being often cast by oddly goofy directors like Tim. And I know that the first big break you got into movies was with Alfred Hitchcock,
That's
of
right.
course. So how does it compare now making movies with Ben when I know he storyboarded everything for you?
Yeah, but he still allowed you freedom. I mean, the thing. He saw me in a play at the Biltmore Theater, Paddy Chayefsky's first play on Broadway with Edward G. Robinson called Middle of the Night, which I did on Broadway for a year, and then I toured with it. Hitchcock came opening night, and I played this macho, crazy fool who's married to Jenna Rollins. I mean, and she's having this affair with an older Jewish man, and he comes back to reclaim her, and she rejects him. So, but I was all over the stage in that one. I mean, I said, playing this egocentric jerk. And then he cast me as Leonard in North by Northwest, which is very economical. I hardly move, and I'm very bright, and I played him as a homosexual character, very subtly. It wasn't written that way. I played it that way because he wanted to get rid of Eva Marie Saint with such a vengeance. I thought it was a logical choice, and everyone told me, you're crazy because it's your first big film and everyone's going to think you're gay. And I said, well, I'm not. But it's not the last thing I'm going to do. So I just went ahead and did it. And subtle. In the 50s, you didn't raise your hand to do that very often. And most of the homosexual characters were flamboyant and caricatures on Franklin Pangborn and, very swishy. And this was different.
It's quite a
I'm so
story.
sorry. Cough.
No, you're okay, Martin. It's been such a pleasure. Unfortunately, I'm out of time. But congratulations on the movie, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you.
Lightning is simply electricity. The cloud is angry, yes, making storm. All the electrons are saying, I am leaving you. I go to the land of opportunity. The ground says, yes, we need electrons trained in science, just like you. Come, welcome. So both sides start to build a ladder. This man, he comes out to look at the storm. He does not see the invisible ladders. When the two ladders meet, boom! The circuit is complete, and all of the electrons rush to the land of opportunity. This man is in the way. Ah!